Hi, I'm Sophie Yan from China Daily at 2016 Mobile Electronics Fair. Today, I am so honored to have Suzanne Wang, the Vice President of Corporate Development Investments of Global Sources, and Ben Wong, the Global Sources Direct, an outstanding online ordering platform. Welcome.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you. Coming along, I find this fair is very spectacular. So firstly, can you tell the audience how big the fair is?
Okay,
Currently, we have about 6,500 booths, and we generally bring in about 65,000 to 70,000 buyers from all over the world to attend in an electronics fair.
Oh, thank you. So, so what's the difference compared to other similar exhibitions all over the world?
Yes, I think Global Sources is the largest electronic show. This one in Asia and probably one of the largest in the world. We have been a professional trade show organizer in Asia for more than 10 years. And we have buyers all over the world. There's certainly a lot of buyers coming here. They're really looking for manufacturers, quality manufacturers in China. And then from here, then they go to directly to China to place the orders. So Hong Kong is really the perfect place for that.
So this is why we take the fair in Hong Kong, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. So, Miss, you are Vice President of Corporate Development and Investments. So you are responsible for setting the company's investment strategy, right?
That's
So
correct.
Can you tell us what's the current investment strategy of GS?
Sure. So in the past several years, Global Sources investment strategy has primarily focused on our core B2B business. So that's online and trade show. Last 6 months, since we launched our first Launchpad, which is last October, which was a huge success, we really started to see some really important trends around the world. Number one is you're seeing a lot of innovation happening around the world. And this is not just in Hong Kong and in China, but you're seeing that everywhere in United States, in Europe, and in Israel. Second, you're seeing the millennial generation, which I'm sure you have heard about it, is millennial generation, they wanted to be innovative. They wanted to share in the social domain. And they're very entrepreneurial. So their dream is to actually start their own business. They don't really necessarily want to work for corporate. The other trend we're seeing is today the startup cost to any business today for young people is much lower than 10 years ago because technology. When you look at all this trend together, and then when we see how many exhibitors and manufacturers at our last Launchpad coming to our Startup Launchpad last October, and it was such a big, huge success, we realized that here's a great opportunity that Global Sources can participate. And the way we participate is we will provide value to this startup. By bringing them here, we will help them to realize their dream to become reality. What I mean is that a lot of startups, their business, they have a great idea. But then they have to validate the concept, they have to manufacture it, and then they have to ultimately find somebody who helps them to sell the products, right?
But why startup? Because as I know, GS is a great investor. So as an investor, isn't it easier to facilitate trade between those well-established companies and suppliers?
Yes. We would like to see ourselves as strategic investor who really provide value to startup. And which kind of value we can provide, right? Today, I think you have a great business concept. You will have no problem raising money. But when you go through your startup journey, you have a lot of obstacles. And the obstacles are, is your product really accepted by the market? Is somebody really going to be willing to manufacture with the volume, the small volume you are looking for, with the cost that you can afford? And can somebody really help you to distribute that product to global customers? So those are the three critical questions that you really have to find answer, and you have to execute it. And this is why Global Sources, we believe that through our Launchpad and through our very successful electronic show, we have the perfect platform to connect this startup with all these three critical elements.
Yes, after a very short tour, I noticed a very good Startup Launchpad pavilion. So it's the first time GS done something ongoing for several years.
Yes, this is actually the second time, but I will let
Second
Ben
time.
talk more about that.
Second
Yeah.
time, okay.
So over the past 6 months, we have increased our Startup Launchpad initiative from 38 startups to 100 startups. What we've seen is that the market has changed, especially in South China, where your traditional manufacturers are making a move to something more new. They're moving up the value chain, whether it's technology, whether it's design, and here comes the blossoming of new startups that are coming from South China. And they're also leveraging the foundation of Shenzhen having good hardware manufacturing. So what we're doing with the Startup Launchpad at the moment is to find startups that are further along the maturity line. They've probably done their ideation, they've done their validation, they're going through their first couple of production runs, and they're looking for distribution. So the ones that are looking for global distribution and trying to go online as well as offline to get that hockey stick growth that all startups are talking about, they need distribution.
So this is the main function of this special pavilion, right?
Correct.
Yes. So can I say GS is actually building a B2B platform for those startups, right?
Yeah, correct. So a lot of the startups, they're thinking, okay, I need to sell my product. However, they are always thinking, maybe I should sell my products online only. The reality of online sales is that it still makes up about 10 to 15% of all consumer retail sales. 85 to 90% of your sales are still done offline, brick and mortar retailers. So for these startups to get massive impact in their distribution strategies, they still need to consider B2B applications. Yeah.
Then Suzanne, and then in your eyes, what benefits can these startups you support so much can achieve from the current fair?
Yeah.
Let me take on that one first, and then you can add on to that. We announced this new program yesterday, and we think what we offer is very unique and it's very expanded. First of all, when they come to this launchpad, they meet the biggest buyers in the world. We work with some of the largest buyers in the world, and more importantly, also work with manufacturers. Today, a lot of the Chinese big manufacturers are also looking to invest, to acquire, also to get a new product concept. The other thing is when the startup display their products here, this is the real case where they can demonstrate. They can do what they call a pitch demo to the customers when they come in here. Say, hey, they can introduce their features and functions. They can announce the latest product launch. So all of this, what I will call is online and offline market validation combined together. So it's a great opportunity. It's a very unique opportunity for them really to showcase and to shine their best products.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I guess the best example is to give you some case studies. We started our Startup Launchpad initiative in October of last year, and with the case study, we were able to prove that actually, if these startups have all their checkboxes checked, and what I mean by that is that their pricing is correct, their marketing is correct, the product is correct, and the supply chain is done right, then the buyers are more willing to potentially bring a product into market. And I can at least name 4 off the top of my head startups that are already in distribution because of the Startup Launchpad show. Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, during my very short tour, I have found startups from Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and other regions, including even US and Europe. So is there a difference, interesting differences between these startups from various regions?
Yeah. So there is a difference, but the gap is definitely closing. I think you can say that the foreign startups, they may have their marketing done really well. They are able to speak to the consumer market relatively easily. I think for our Chinese startups, there's still a little bit of a learning curve. However, we are helping them think about, hey, listen, these are the things that you need to put together. And that is your marketing proposal. And how are you going to do your marketing? Is it through crowdfunding? Is it through online marketing? These are some of the things that we try to help them with in terms of being very specific with what you're trying to accomplish with your consumer market. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the help.
Yeah.
Specifically because plenty of Hong Kong legislators are actually trying to improve Hong Kong's industry of innovation. And Hong Kong people are so eager to know how is innovation ecosystem or environment in Shenzhen and Hong Kong.
Yes. Global Source is headquartered in Hong Kong, but our headquarters in China is in Shenzhen. So 90% of revenue coming from China. So China is our largest and most important market for us, and we have been operating in China for more than 20 years. We would like to see that Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and to a certain extent the Pearl River Delta, are really very much connected and integrated. I don't think any city of Shenzhen or Hong Kong can really be on its own without each other. But they're different, right? So I think in the case of the startup application that we are receiving for investment considerations, a lot of them from Israel, from America, and Europe, when they come to China, they wanted to manufacture their products in China because there's no other place where you can find the best technology, best manufacturing tooling, and the costing around the world. However, they do have a little bit concern about their intellectual property protection. So oftentimes when they come to Hong Kong, Hong Kong is the first step. They set up their corporation here, they set up the IP. This is a very easy place for them to feel comfortable in terms of legal protection, in terms of taxation to get their headquarters setting up. And then they take the train, they go across Shenzhen, and then they can look at domestic distribution channel, they look at warehousing, they look at manufacturing. So I think Hong Kong and Shenzhen are positioned very well together if you put them together as startup hubs and technology innovation hub for China.
Yes, but these are all advantages of the innovation environment. As a reporter, I'm so sorry. I am so wondering about what's the challenges they face.
Sure. I think particularly for Hong Kong, we are seeing that there's a shortage of software development talent. That's number one. And number two, of course, Hong Kong just doesn't have the necessary manufacturing base for our startup to find the necessary tools and to do the prototyping. And they really have to go to Shenzhen. So I think this is one thing that Hong Kong, we would like to see Hong Kong has more of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ben, as I know, you are head of Global Sources Direct, right?
Yeah.
Which is very different platform from this fair. So personally, I am so curious. So could you please introduce to the audiences?
Sure. Global Sources Direct is currently managing all the startup initiatives when it comes to some of the services that we're providing. One of the services is obviously Startup Launchpad, the B2B event that we have here at the trade show. Another thing that we do is help these startups validate themselves, their product, and their marketing message globally. How we do this is we leverage a lot of the content creation that we do for them. This really is, look at your customer market, A/B test the message. Let's come up with a whole marketing campaign, and we're gonna do an initial launch of validating your product through crowdfunding. So we do this through Kickstarter, we do it through Indiegogo to help them go and get their initial early adopters. For your product to be successful, you still need early adopters, especially if it's a new technology or a new product. We do this, and then we take them, if they have hit a certain point where they're able to say, yeah, my product is actually solving a problem, or people want or need my product, then they can take the next step and go and do their first production run, and we help refer them to our large database of suppliers here. Yeah.
Actually, I have searched the website, but what's the difference between the direct, the GS Direct, and those such as Amazon, those websites?
Sure. So Global Sources Direct is where we're going to find a curated amount of products. So we are very China heavy. We do believe that in China there is a lot of startup companies that are moving up the value chain in terms of their product. Global Sources Direct curates. So not everyone can be there. It's a certain type of products and our discretion that we feel should fit in Global Sources Direct. And we are not competing against Amazon. What we do is that if the product is well received, we will use Amazon to also help them sell their products. Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, today I have seen a lot of suppliers all over the world. So, as far as I am concerned, Ben, you have 6 years professional experience in Greater China, right?
Yes.
So, in your eyes, is there differences from these suppliers?
Over the last 6 years?
Yes.
Definitely. And that is, if you take a look at, when I first started looking at suppliers here in China, there are a lot of people doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And there's probably a market to do the same thing at the time. The reality of it is that all Chinese manufacturers are growing up. There's a second generation of manufacturers that are probably more well educated in terms of design, marketing, and what is a good product. So we're seeing a lot of manufacturing moving up the value chain in terms of providing something new. So we're seeing a lot of manufacturers moving towards IoT, 3D printing.
Internet of Things, right?
Correct. Yeah. So they're doing all these things that are actually very trend setting. In fact, they are setting the trends and validating from a manufacturer's point of view that, yeah, I can make something new with the new technology and also integrate software. Yeah.
Thank you. We have learned a lot. Miss, in your opinion, what kind of peculiarities of this current fair, which can attract so many suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors?
Yes, we have been running these shows for more than, this is actually our 10th show, I believe. We've been running this show for more than 10 years. I think this year the bright light, the spotlight is really our announcement, our extended program for the startup community. So we are looking at providing a whole range of service which really helps the startup to grow from their market, from their conceptualization stage all the way to their distribution. So I would like to say that yesterday we did a lot of press coverage. We had a lot of people visited our Startup Launchpad. We had the Hong Kong government officials coming. So I think that particularly for this show, this April, I think that a lot of people find our Startup Launchpad is really very exciting spot for them to come and visit this show.
So the spotlight of this year is this pavilion, right?
Correct, and also our announced extended program to serve the entire startup community, including our startup tech investment that we announced yesterday.
Okay, really looking forward
Yes.
to it. So what's your expectation upon this year's exhibition, specifically of this launchpad?
We hope that everybody who visited the show will be very excited about the latest projects that they see. And we hope that some of our manufacturers from China would love the new technology, new innovation, and would love to help our startup to grow and manufacture. And most important, we would like to see a lot of our global distributors would help our startup to put their products on the shelves around the world.
Yes, this is the purpose of this whole fair, right?
Yeah.
And so, what's the next project of Global Sources? We are so curious about this.
Yes, for Startup Launchpad, we have high expectation that we'll continue to grow and grow very fast for October this year. I think for Global Sources, we are a company that also constantly looking to innovate as well, and to serve the startup community. Whether it's by providing online market validation, by providing to grow our Launchpad presence, and to invest in them. It's really, I think, Global Sources' way of innovating ourselves as well. As I said earlier, Global Sources in the past have really just focused on investing our B2B business, i.e. trade shows and online. We continue to do that. But we were very excited about the opportunity to participate in the startup community. Along the way that as we are helping the startup to grow in that journey, we are also looking to innovate and transform ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Lastly, besides this fair, so what other trade facilitating projects would you two like to share with audiences?
So it's here.
Well, I could speak on behalf of the startups. What we will do to grow this startup initiative is to build a community. What we do is to make sure that we bring the education part of this to an early stage startup. So an early stage startup, as I mentioned before, has to go through several stages, and what we would like to do is on a monthly basis create an education platform, mini events, where we can generate a massive amount of startups to come together and learn together. At the same time share. So these are our next next steps that we're taking to grow our impact in the startup community.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We have learned a lot about this fair and Global Sources. And thank you so much for watching. We have a lot of coverage from this wonderful, spectacular fair. Watch us closely.